Welcome to the Final Countdown with Jimmy Stewart. Today I'm going to discuss the candidates that I supported in the last presidential race and why. Welcome to the Final Countdown, and I'm going to discuss the candidates that I had hoped would win the Republican nomination. I wasn't a big Romney fan. Romney was okay. He's a decent man, family man. But my first choice was Michelle Bachmann. And I'd hoped that if she got the nomination that maybe she would reach out to someone like a Sarah Palin or maybe a Herman Cain to run on the ticket with her. And here's why. At some point, the Republican Party has to make a bold move to refute the lies that the left puts out there about the party. All I've heard lately was, for the last few years, especially during the election year, was how the Republican Party was anti-women. We had this whole War on Women campaign, phony baloney war on women. And really, the war on women was about an entitlement program, free birth control for women. Somehow, the liberal Democrats decided that they were going to use this as a wedge issue, knowing that Republicans were not going to go along with any more entitlement programs because the country is broke, and it wasn't even needed. It wasn't like there are women out there in America who are saying, I have to decide between buying birth control pills or feeding my kids or my family. That's not the case. I have yet to meet one woman who said that she was not able to afford her birth control pills. Most birth control pills are, if you go to Walmart, are $4. CVS, Walgreens, some other places, maybe $10. You go to Planned Parenthood and get free birth control or reduced cost birth control. And the top of the line birth controls run at, I think, at Planned Parenthood for $40 to $50 a month if you can't take the generic. And somehow liberals had the entire nation, well, not the entire nation, not me, but I mean, they had people believing that this was an actual, if you were opposed to this, that somehow you were opposed to women. And the liberal women, the feminists, went along with it because they finally had an entitlement program that was just for them. See, men don't take birth control pills. Babies don't, children don't. This is something that was just for women. So women can now feel like they have arrived because they have their own entitlement program from the government. They have a free handout. The whole thing about these handouts, though, that most people don't think about, is that in order for the government to give to you, they have to actually take it from someone else. Yeah, I know the government's good at printing money and just making money out of thin air. That's the Federal Reserve. We'll talk about that another time. So back to Michelle Bachmann. So let's look at which party is truly the party that's anti-women and anti-black and anti-Hispanic to some degree. Although they haven't quite gotten there yet because it's still courting the Hispanics trying to, go from 60% of the Hispanic vote to 80%. That's their goal. So, but as far as women are concerned, Michelle Bachmann was on the ticket for the last election, and the liberal Democrats basically disgraced the woman. Did everything they could to tear her down and tear her apart. Why? Because she was a mother, educated, successful. She worked, so the feminists should have appreciated that. But she was also a person who advocated strong family ties. She's a woman who adopted and was a foster home for over 20-some kids, plus raised her own kids. But what I liked about Michelle Bachmann was she was the only person of all the candidates who really did anything to try to stand up to fight Obamacare. She introduced legislation to kill Obamacare. It didn't go anywhere, but she did it. She tried to warn us about all the hidden costs, things they were not telling us in Obamacare. She did everything possible to fight against it. She wasn't afraid to go out there and do it. Most of the men up on the stage they're running for the Republican nomination, too wishy-washy, too spineless. And that's the part of the problem with the Republican Party, is that we continue to nominate spineless white men to be on the ticket. Men who are afraid to be conservatives. And look who Democrats nominate. They'll nominate a Gore or an Obama, but then because they're not afraid. I mean, these are liberal pretty people. Obama is the most liberal president we've ever had, far to the left of Jimmy Carter, and yet Democrats aren't afraid to run a very liberal person and stick to their means, and this has been the most successful liberal president that we've had. And liberals love him. I mean, they are celebrating the street over Obama. I mean, he can do no wrong because he's doing exactly what they want him to do. After the election, I thought for certain that there's no way in a bad economy like this, so many people out of work, that Obama would actually get reelected. I mean, I was certain about it. History was on my side, and the numbers were there, and it's just no way. But the one thing I overlooked, because let me back up. Part of my belief that he wouldn't get reelected was I thought he was going to lose some of the white liberal vote, because even they would vote their pocketbooks and wise up. Obama hadn't done anything good for the country in 4 years. So far, we see as much as the same. Unemployment is really high. And it's not looking like it's going to get any better anytime soon. Why? Because Barack Hussein Obama has no clue as to how to stimulate the economy. None. All the yahoos he have around him are all academians. They never run a business. They've never been in business. These are all lefties who've been in the classroom talking about the theory of business, not and how to run a business. They've never done it before. So now they find themselves in trouble. Staggering economy is not growing. We've been having 1.5–2% growth. 2% would actually be great, and that's all government spending. That's not the private economy doing anything. So Barack hasn't done anything for the economy in 6 years, other than spend our money and run up a lot of debt. So back to Michelle Bachmann. Michelle Bachmann actually had larger balls than all the male Republican candidates on the stage that she had to compete against. She did. She didn't mind taking on Obama. She spoke out against him. And I think she would have been a better president than Romney or any other male candidates up there. The same thing with Sarah Palin. I mean, when her and John McCain were on the ticket, I had to hold my nose to vote for McCain. I was not a McCain fan. In fact, I wish he would leave the party, to be totally honest. He's one of those moderates or centrists, mavericks, whatever they want to call them, who seems to take great pleasure in working with Democrats. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to probably get attacked for it, but I'm a partisan. All this, bipartisan nonsense, I'm not for it. Because generally bipartisan means that Republicans have to, make concessions. We have to, leave our principles and abandon our principles and adopt somebody else's principles. Somehow, Democrats are never asked to abandon theirs. Barack says he wants a balanced approach. We give him tax increase after tax increase. You say, okay, well, you promised to do something about the spending and entitlements. Oh no, we can't balance the budget on the backs of people who are need the programs. We have to go after those who have the money. Which means is code word. If you read what he's saying is that look, I'm never going to do anything about spending. I'm never going to do anything about entitlements. It's never going to be on the table. Only thing that's going to be on the table are tax increases and more spending. Because that's who I am. I'm a tax and spend liberal Democrat. And the Democrats are showing you every day. Now they learned the game. They learned to say the right things, but their actions speak otherwise. Barack says that he wants a balanced approach. He's been saying that for years. What does balance mean? And you really think about it, balance really should mean you have a little bit from one party, a little bit from another party. You balance it out. You give, everybody gets a little something, nobody gets exactly what they want. That would be a balanced approach. But no. Balanced approach so far has been, give me tax increase after tax increase, and give me more tax increases, give me more spending. And as far as entitlement is concerned, man, the people who receive those entitlement checks or programs, we're not going to balance the budget on them, so they can't be touched. And if entitlements can't be touched, that's the bulk. That's 65-70% of our spending, really. So back to Michelle Bachmann. Notice how Democrats went after her. Now, when Hillary was on the ticket, I don't think she was attacked, and of course the right went after her own policies. Never really on her looks, her hairstyle, her dress. The left, used all kind of petty tactics to tear Michelle Bachmann down. They used every unflattering picture they can find of her. She was giving a speech and doing a speech, and I know this because I have to edit the final countdown myself, and sometimes I go through frame by frame. If you go through frame by frame, you can find, I'm telling you, you can find some unflattering pictures of people. I've interviewed people before, and examining frame per frame, I was like, wow, look at the expression on that person's face. So that's what they would do. They would basically go frame by frame until they found a picture that was unflattering, and then they'd print that. They'd use that just to make it look crazy. And we saw what they did to Sarah Palin. They did everything to destroy her family. There were no bounds. There was no decency involved with liberals. They know no bounds. All they know is that they want to win, and they want to destroy Republicans. So when you talk about a war on women, when you look at recent history, here's the Republican Party trying to promote women, encourage them to run in our party, and promote them, whereas Democrats are trying to destroy women. And they claim, that we're the party that's against women. The same thing with blacks. Herman Cain. Herman Cain was on a ticket, and the liberal press, the lefty press, I call it the lefty loons, or the loony left. That sounds too much like a cartoon. So lefty loons is my expression of choice, for them. Did everything they could to destroy Herman Cain. But if somehow Michelle Bachmann and Herman Cain had gotten on the Republican ticket, the left, the Democratic Party, and the press, their true colors would have come out, because they would have did everything possible to destroy these people. And we would have seen, exactly who they are and how low they're willing to go in order to win the election and stay in power. So I say all of this because I've been advocating that people do their own homework. Stop relying on the press to form your opinions and give you information. You can't trust them. That's even some of the press on the right also. Do your due diligence to figure things out. This is a great opportunity for blacks to really look at the Republican Party as an alternative to the Democratic Party. The party that's done nothing for them but give them more poverty. And that's all the Democratic Party is interested in, is growing poverty. They're doing the same thing according to Hispanics right now. They will do everything possible to take people who have a reputation for hard work, strong families, and do everything to destroy their families. Do everything to take the hard working nature away from them and make them dependent on government. And all too often there are too many illegal immigrants who are more than willing to take the handout, not realizing that it's like a drug. And once the government gets you addicted to it, it's very difficult to break. Very. Destroying women, destroying blacks, all for political expediency. This is what the Democratic Party is about. They have no sense of decency, none. And all too often, Republicans deal with them in a decent fashion. Why? Because the men that we've nominated so far don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to do the things that you have to do to win elections. And part of that is win the cultural war. Stop running away. Stop listening to the lefty loons on MSNBC telling you how to win elections. They say crazy things like, well, you can't be a conservative and win in America today. You have to come to the center. You have to be, Democrat light. Because if you run as a conservative, you may win the nomination, but you're not going to win the general election because people don't like conservatives. They don't like the Republican Party. This is what they would have you believe. But but they never tell someone on the left that. They never go to Barack and say, Barack, you can't be the most liberal president we've ever had. You have to come back to the center. You have to do a Bill Clinton and come to the middle. And there were some who were urging Barack Obama to come to the center during his first term, but he stood his ground, and at least I commend him for that. He stayed far to the left. He didn't do a Bill Clinton, and guess what? He got reelected by being a left liberal, and in some degree, I would say loon, but he's actually snookered and outsmarted the Republicans at every turn. And this is something that we have to fix. So here's a message to my fellow Republicans and conservatives out there. One, you're not going to win the Hispanic vote by giving them immigration reform. It's not going to happen. I don't care how much reform you sign and put in the law, you're never, ever going to win the Hispanic vote that way. In history, if you look at the first amnesty program, and look what Ronald Reagan did. Basically, legalizing up to 3 million illegal residents at the time. And what happened? The end result of that is that we lost the state of California, a state we used to own. But now you have 3 million new citizens have a right to vote, and they decide to vote for the party. Not the Republican Party that wants to balance the budget, reduce government size, reduce government spending, and live within our means. No, they went out and voted for the party that wanted to give them free stuff. Why? Because they want the free stuff. Let's just say it how it is. So I know I'm going to get in trouble when I say this, because most people criticize me. Oh, Jimmy, I can't believe you said that. Most undocumented residents are here. I mean, you can't even call them illegal. I mean, they're just here, trying to work and take care of their families and survive. Yeah, but the reality is they may be hardworking, many of them, but the reality is that they also want free stuff. In history, the proof is in the pudding. They vote for the party that gives them free stuff. They take advantage of the free stuff. And now we're talking about up to 20 million more illegal aliens that are in the country and legalize it. Well, see, first of all, if you pass immigration reform, I'm going to say this now, it won't be 13 years before they get citizenship, because the first order of business is going to be to make sure they're able to vote. People say, well, no, they have to be a citizen first before they... No, that's not true. Once you pass immigration reform, it won't be long before the Democrats come back to you and say, well, it's not fair that, they have a work permit, but then they can't vote. We treat them like second-class citizens. We passed amendments giving people the right to vote. So that's going to be the first order of business. We'll have to amend the immigration reform bill and give those who are here with some kind of work permit or whatever card they give them the right to go register to vote. And at that point, the Democrats will pretty much own every national election, because the 20 million illegal aliens, some have estimated 10, maybe 20%. So let's say if it's 20%, take a conservative number and say 20%. 4 million of the 20 million will support the Republican Party. The other 80% are going to vote for the Democrats. And Democrats know this. And we'll basically lose every national election from here until we'll have pretty much one party rule. Country will be broke. We'll have a bunch of people living off the system. The number of people paying into the system will will be the minority. We're close to being there now. It won't take long before we tip from 53 to 47 to being the majority of people not paying into the system and the minority working for the system and paying into it. The Democrats will have exactly what they want. They'll have working everyday people who pay into the system, slaves to the state. And then they'll have another group of people who they can go and harvest a vote from every 2 years, depending on the state. It's a perfect setup. One group, you're forcing them to work and you're taxing them heavily. Another group you're giving stuff to and they don't have to do anything other than vote for you. Perfect combination for Democrats. So Republicans, do not pass immigration reform. You know what? If Hispanics want the Republican Party to take on a pro-immigration stance, now, I mean, the Republican Party is already pro-immigration. Legal immigration. We have no problem with people coming to the country legally. Apply, stand in line, pay whatever you have to pay, do what all the other people who immigrate here legally do. But for the folks who are here illegally, you can't jump ahead. There can't be a shortcut for you simply because you're here. And if we have to deport 20 million people, deport them. People say, well, you can't do that. Well, why not? I mean, this is a nation that dropped food when Berlin was being seized after World War II. We dropped food in there and fed millions of people. There was a plane landing every 3 seconds, I believe, with food. And we did this, for month after month after month. Amazing feat. So surely, we also put a man on the moon. We could deport 20 million people if we wanted to. And we may not want to, but some people have a problem with that. And if you want to just leave them here, I mean, that's whatever the will of the people is, that's fine. My thing is that we have laws in the books, we need to follow them. We need to implement them, execute them. If that means that, some people that are here illegally are deported, so be it. If you've been here for a number of years, you have plenty of time to start the process of applying for legal citizenship, to start doing something about it. Don't just sit back and wait. So Republicans, do not buy into we're going to somehow win over Hispanics, because you're not. You're not. We pass immigration reform, you're basically going to give the country away. Hispanics are not going to come vote for us. We're not the party that gives them stuff. No, people who are interested in getting stuff from the government, free stuff, be it a welfare check, SNAP, WIG, CHIP, S-CHIP, the Obama phones, it doesn't matter what it is. People who are interested in getting free stuff, getting things from the government, Section 8, any kind of assistance from the government, are not going to vote for the Republican Party. Because our focus is trying to balance our budgets, live within our means. And that doesn't make us cruel because we want to put the country on sound financial footing. It just means we don't have the same focus as Democrats. And there are a lot of people, it's hard to fight against free stuff. It's hard to fight against Santa Claus. That's who that party is. But that don't mean we have to become like them. We need to stand our ground and be who we are. When people finally get to a point of paying into a system that's not supporting them and seeing all their money and debt the country is stacking up, which means the people who don't pay taxes, what do they care about the debt? They don't. Well, they don't care about deficits, national debt, because they'll never have to pay for it. It'll never come out of their pocket. The government's never going to tax them to pay down the national debt. The government will tax people who work and earn a certain income, and that group is going to become the minority here soon. And as they become the minority and shrink, the government's going to tax that group even more, because as that group shrinks, the revenue is going to shrink. And either they're going to go tax the poor people, which they don't want to do, or they're going to just double down and tax the hell out of anyone who's middle class, upper middle class, or wealthy, as they put it. I'm going to conclude, by saying the Republican Party needs to take some bold steps. Now is the time for us to stand behind women like Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann. Behind black candidates like Herman Cain. Hispanic candidates like Marco Rubio. It's time to stand behind them and push them to the top leadership positions within our party. Give them a chance to run. And we need to push and stand our ground that we are the party of limited government, of financial responsibility, strong military, that we're going to enforce our borders and our laws, that we're not going to run away. See, Romney made the mistake of, well, I'm not going to deport anybody. There'll be self-deportation. What craziness is that? You put your hand on the Bible and you swear to uphold the laws of this land, but you're gonna run by saying, yeah, I'm not gonna enforce those laws. That's basically what the Democrats are doing. Barack Obama just decided he's not gonna enforce immigration laws. Just not gonna do it. You know, and so many other laws he doesn't like. I would just write a directive that we're just not gonna enforce it. Period. We don't want to be like Democrats. We have to stop this nonsense. Stop taking on their identity. We have to stand for what we believe in and be willing to stand up, men and women, and fight for that. If it means we lose elections, then we just lose the election. But you don't give up on your principle. If you want to be part of the national group that's winning, but then have to do the things that are detrimental to you, go join the Democrats. Don't bring the Democratic liberal message to this party. Take it to them. Switch hats if you want to. If it means that much to you. I certainly understand. If you're a politician, you want to get elected. If you can't get elected as a Republican, go become a Democrat. Adopt their principles. Stand behind that party. But don't bring their message here to change us. We have to be the party that stands for freedom. That we are the last best hope for America. And one day America will see that. Once the Democrats run America into the ground, and America becomes Greece, at some point the people are going to wise up and realize that we can't continue to run the country this way. And that's going to take bold innovation and bold changes. And the only party that's going to offer you that is the Republican Party. So I'm reaching out to black folks, to Hispanics, to anyone who's listening who supports that party, that racist KKK party. They have a long history of it. If you don't believe me, go look at the other chapters of the countdown, the final countdown, where I talk about these things. I'm not going to talk about it tonight. Now is the time for you to join the Republican Party and actually have people listen to your concerns. Black people have been ignored by the Democratic Party for years. You've been brainwashed into believing that the Republican Party is anti-black. We're anti-black, but Herman Cain was a front runner at one time, getting the support of Republicans. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe the nonsense that they put out there to brainwash you. But the Republican Party, if you brace us now, come on board, you will have a voice. I guarantee you, all the leadership from the Republican RNC on down to district chairmen and chairwomen will listen to you. We want blacks and Hispanics to come join the party. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to fight for the things that are important to you. Educating your kids. Doing something about crime in your neighborhood. Economic development in your neighborhoods. Putting people to work. These are the things that are important to you. These are the things that are important to the Republican Party. But we can't do it without your support. That's reality. So if you want to allow yourself to be brainwashed and believe that we're your enemy, that the Republican Party, the Tea Party, they're all your enemy, and then continue to support a party that is destroying your neighborhoods and destroying your families and making you an entitlement addict, then stay the course, stay with that party, and then see what happens. But as you can see, the black experience hasn't got any better with a black president. A black president who does everything he can to make sure he's not perceived as doing anything for black people, because he wants to be the president for everybody. But he doesn't mind doing something special for Hispanics, fighting for immigration reform. He doesn't mind doing something special for women, fighting for free birth control, which they didn't even want. doesn't mind doing something for the teachers union, getting rid of vouchers and charter and school choice. He doesn't mind doing something for the unions, by trying to pass card check and keeping private companies like Boeing from building a plant and creating jobs down in the Carolinas. Yeah, he doesn't mind doing all those things. He doesn't mind catering to special interests and special groups. When black folks are not involved. But when it comes to black people, man, can't do anything, can't go out of my way, can't lift a crumb, nothing. I can't do anything. Because if I do, they're going to label me as being special, giving blacks special treatment. Well, you know what? Blacks gave you special treatment, Mr. President. 2 elections now. Nothing wrong with giving a little bit back. Hey, I'm Jimmy Stewart, and this is the Final Countdown. Thank you, and have a good night.